Good evening and welcome everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Rainer and this is Rainier Books and welcome on Booktube. It's been a while. It's been a long while since I did the last video, since I uploaded the last video. Actually, it was 8 days ago. That's a long time on Booktube because you realize that when you're gone, that you get a lot less comments, you get a lot less discussions, and you have to deliver all the time. That's also something that I'm going to take up in another video in the near future, maybe when I celebrate my first anniversary as a booktuber. But today I want to talk about the things that lie behind me and lie behind us in the last week. So let's get started with this beautiful video. I have read only one book last week, but I finished it actually. And I don't know if you have been on Margaret Bernard's channel last Friday or the days after Friday, because I've read E.M. Forster's classical novel, A Passage to India, from the year of 1924 when it was published. And it was a buddy read with Margaret, and Margaret is having a lot of discussions about buddy reads that she does in the month of March under the headline March of the Moderns. So we had a long discussion about A Passage to India, a book that grows when you read it. And that's very interesting. It's made me think about a lot of different things. For example, reading a 97-year-old book is something that I don't do very often. I very often stick to new books that appear on the market and very contemporary authors, and I don't look back so much in what is behind us in the history of literature. And I should do that more often because we realize, both Margaret and I guess, realize that there's so much inside this novel by E.M. Forster. This is a novel, if you haven't read A Passage to India, you should absolutely do it. It is a novel about a friendship, or the possibility of a friendship, between a British school teacher, a school professor named Cyril Fielding, and a Muslim doctor from India, Dr. Aziz. And the two of them, they are trying to become friends, but things get in the way. The history and the cultural background of their countries get in the way. There are two women traveling to India. They do a passage to India, if you want. A passage to India at the time in the 1920s was not taking a flight from Paris Charles de Gaulle or from London Heathrow to Bombay or Calcutta or New Delhi. A passage to India, a trip to India in the 1920s, 97 years ago, meant actually that you were taking a boat from London or from the seaport, a boat to Egypt. And from Egypt, you would travel with another boat, with another ship through the Red Sea, and then into the Indian Ocean and to India. So it's a long, long way at the time. And Mrs. Moore, an older woman, and Adela Quested travel to India because Mrs. Moore wants her son Ronnie to marry Adela. And that's why she takes Adela to India. They work in India. They are very rich people, and Forster depicts the colonial society of India in a very special way that I don't like at all. There's a lot of arrogance, there's a lot of racism, there's a lot of snobism against the indigenous population of India. And Mrs. Moore and Adela, they want to see the real India. They want to see the real India, apart from the polo games, apart from the tea parties they have with their fellow white friends from England. They want to see the real India. They want to see the elephants. They want to see the people of India. So they, for some reasons that I cannot explain because we don't have the time, they are going on a trip together with Dr. Aziz to see the caves of very special caves. And when they arrive Mrs. Moore has claustrophobia, there's an echo in the caves, and she's Her world is turned upside down. She cannot take it anymore. And Adela gets lost, and Dr. Aziz gets lost, and finally Dr. Aziz is being accused of having insulted Adela, which is, in the language of the 1920s, having raped Adela. And there's a trial, and I'm not going to spoil so much because there are some twists and turns there. But this is a novel where you really can see how Forster has built it, has crafted it, has telling us a lot about the different cultures, the clash of the cultures between the British culture and the Indian culture, discusses the question of life and rebirth and death, all those kinds of things. There is so much in this novel. It was actually the last novel that Forster published. He was 45 years old when The Passage to India was published. He became 90 years, but he never ever published a novel after this. We haven't really found out why, but our guess was that because Forster is gay, that he wasn't able to write the stuff that he wanted to write during the rest of his life. It just wasn't the time. It's also a quote how the novel ends, actually. It's not the time to be friends between Dr. Aziz and Cyril Fielding. That's no spoiler for you. So this is a great novel, and I'm short of battery, so I have to change the battery, and when we come back, I tell you more. So I'm back already, and have a new battery inside my camera that's totally uninteresting to you, but you have to listen to it anyway. No, I continue with more talk about E.M. Forster, about classical novels. I mean, 97-year-old novel is a classical novel to me. It's a novel that we honor. And I thought also of all the novels that I read today, of all the novels that we read today and that win awards, if it's Douglas Stewart's Shuggie Bain, or if it's Charles Hughes' Interior Chinatown that won the National Book Award, even if it's Bernardine Evaristo's Girl, Woman, Other, or if it's Sigrid Nunes's novel The Friend that also won the National Book Award a couple of years ago, I wondered which of these novels that we read today will someone pick up in 97 years from now and say, wow, this was great stuff. It's always a very interesting question. What will become a classic and what will not become a classic? I have received a couple of books last week, so I was continuing after I finished Passage to India with Margaret. I was continuing reading The 9 Lives of Pakistan. I'm still inside that book, and I have to finish it hopefully this week until Friday, Easter Friday. And but I also received a lot of books by mail last week, and I think now they have all arrived. Actually, today I got a little mail from Canada, from Winnipeg in the province of Manitoba. I ordered this book by Desmond, The Skin We're In. I could have ordered this at a Swedish shop, but I actually wanted, because this is a Canadian author, I wanted to order it in Canada. So it arrived here from Canada, and it cost me a fortune. It cost me really a fortune to get this book with all the package and postage that was on it, but also with the customs who wanted to have a lot of taxes from me here in Sweden. They have no mercy, the Swedish customs. They even charge you for tote bags of the New Yorker, as I have told you a couple of weeks ago. But I've got more books. The Post-Soviet Book Club, right, is starting on the 1st of May. And I will start this with reading the novel Untraceable by Sergei Lebedev. And this arrived here also last week. Untraceable is a novel about a poison that is developed in the Soviet Union, that has been developed in the Soviet Union, that is untraceable. And you can kill people with it. And it reminds, of course, of a poison that has been used for poisoning this guy and his daughter in England, but also the Kreml critic Navalny recently in the city of Tomsk, I think, or was it in Omsk? Sergei Lebedev's novel Untraceable. I think Lebedev is not living in Russia anymore. He's living in... and I love the cover This is Dorota Maslowska's international bestseller, Snow White and Russian Red. It's a paperback, even with some illustrations. And look at this beautiful cover. I just love it. I think even Bald from Bald and Bankrupt would love it because it looks so Soviet in a way. It's the ideal book for the post-Soviet book club. Dorota Maslowska, Snow White and Russian Red. I got 2 more English books that arrived, English written books, from Barbados. And it was on my list, and I think it also was, yes, it's on the list of the Women's Prize for Fiction. I put it on my prediction list, and then the jury decided to even put it on their list, their long list. And of course, the leader of the jury, the head of the jury, is Bernardine Evaristo, and she has blurbed the book by saying a hard-hitting and unflinching novel from a bold new writer. So what else could she do than to put this on the long list? This is Cherie Jones, How the One-Armed Sister Sweeps Her House, a novel about Barbados. And I got one more book here from Uganda. And The Economist has called her an international superstar. And this is Jennifer Nansubuga Makumbi and her novel, The First Woman, that arrived in my mail. And it looks like a chunky one. It has about 420, 430 pages. That's still okay. The library also sent me some books, so I'm really overwhelmed with books before I move here. This is a classic one from Sweden, because not from Sweden actually, it was written by a correspondent who lived here in Sweden in the 1960s and early 1970s. And I think he was working for a British newspaper as a correspondent, and he wrote this book about Sweden, The New Totalitarians, in 1971. I actually want to check this book a little bit. I don't want to read the whole thing, but I want to read a little bit about his view at the time of how the Swedes look up to their authorities and how they trust in their authorities, because that's really something that is striking me now in the COVID-19 crisis, that there are few people in Europe and even in the Western world who have such a big belief and big trust in their government and in their state authorities that they almost neglect all the other opinions that come from other viewpoints, even if it's from the best universities in the world. Another book that has arrived and that I would love to read before I move is Luster by Raven Leilani, and it was also both on my prediction list and on the long list of the Women's Prize for Fiction. And it's a pretty short one. I actually realized that it should be possible to read it in 1.5 days. But now I have to start some buddy reads, right? And I'm going to buddy read 2 novels. After I finished The 9 Lives of Pakistan, I would jump into 2 buddy reads. And the first 2 ones, I will have 4 in April. The first 2 ones are with Courtney Farrader. I'm going back to India. I just came back to India with... I just came back from India with Margaret, and now I'm going to India again with Courtney, but about a century later. Aravind Ardiga's novel White Tiger is what we are going to read, what we are going to examine in India. And look at this beautiful copy. I love it. It's an original edition. It still says here, shortlisted for the Booker Prize. It doesn't even say winner of the Booker Prize. I'm going to read Fake Accounts now with Zina from Beating Around the Books. And this I'm going to start as early as tomorrow, because she has already started this. So Zina, if you're listening, I'm going to start this tomorrow to try to keep up to your reading. And I'm also have to finish, I don't know if I will manage that, Once Upon a River by Bonnie Jo Campbell. And I have also a plan in April to start reading Barack Obama's A Promised Land, together with Paula from Draw Your Book. So these are the books that are coming, and I also want to read a thriller in the month of April. I'm not so sure if I can manage everything. I will try my best. And the good thing about buddy reads is that they really sort of keep you reading the books that you have committed yourself to reading. And that's a good thing about buddy reads, because they make you a little bit more disciplined than you usually are, right? So these are the plans for the next couple of weeks. Oh my gosh, so many bookitos, so many books here. There are a lot of interesting discussions going on Booktube. I just saw a video by Hannah, from Hannah and her books, where she's talking about her sort of turn into professionalism in reviewing books, not only on Booktube, but also for getting paid for a couple of journals, which is amazing and beautiful. Congratulations to that. But also her thoughts about capitalism, and should we as booktubers take books by publishers, or should we take other gifts by people who want us to present certain products into the camera? I will think about that a little more, because I never get offers like that, so I'm really out of the game here. But it's a very interesting question that I have thought about very often, because I think this divides Booktube into two or three. It's divided into so many departments, but it divides Booktube in certain departments, because there are a lot of colleagues, a lot of booktubers who are getting so much books by publishers, dozens of books each month, and you wonder how about their sort of independence, about their clear view. If you start making a living of this, then of course you have to make deals with people and with publishers. And then you have to do stuff that you wouldn't do if you wouldn't get paid for it. So that's very clear, I think. Another thing that I thought about was Yagiasi's article in The Guardian that I maybe didn't quite understand when I criticized it last week. I still have some thoughts about it, because I understand that she is sort of having bad feelings about that her book is a bestseller just because, just because the murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and everything that happened to people of color in the United States in the last year and all the years before. On the other hand, I said, be happy with what you get. Be happy with the sales that you get. But someone, I don't remember who commented on this and said she doesn't want to take blood money. I don't regard this as blood money, and I think that a writer like Yagiasi should have all the reasons to be self-confident about her writing. And of course there are people, as I said already last week, there are people who buy books just because they look good on their shelves. And sometimes I think each and every booktuber, we all have so many books on our shelves that we haven't read yet. So we are guilty of that probably too, that we just want to read Cherie Jones, How the One-Armed Sister Sweeps Her House. But there's so many other books so that we really don't know if we get to it, if we don't commit to buddy reads and really do it with someone else. So we are not always so innocent, I think, in our behavior, but it's also a behavior, and I think that believing in the good in people, at least in the good in bookish people, that we cannot control our habits. And if something is happening in Burma, for example, there are people killed in Burma each and every day in Myanmar. Yesterday, the military in Burma killed 80 people. They killed dozens of people each and every day over there. People who are just demonstrating against the military dictatorship of this country. And if we turn to a book about Burma, about Myanmar, the history of Myanmar, the author also would have to feel up. They buy my book only because of this. That's something we have to live with, in a way. And if it's beautiful or if it's not, it's just the way it is. Yeah, that's it, probably. And I'm still not vaccinated. Joe Biden is going to put shots in your arms and money in your pockets. That was a beautiful slogan that he had last week. We don't have that in Europe. We still had I mean, I don't know if you heard that they had 27 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine, found them in Italy, and they were sort of stored there for later export to the UK, where we have the biggest problems in getting vaccines. They had just 27 million doses stored there for the UK. And the UK has almost vaccinated half of their population already. Crazy stuff going on, and it's really not working. And the newest thing is that they say that we here in Sweden, we might get the first jab in June. We should get it in June. Eating walnuts. Okay. But that was everything I had to say, actually. I promise to make more videos now. Coming days, I will try to post something on Tuesday, and I will try to post something on Thursday, and then on Sunday again on Easter. So we'll see each other very soon on this channel. Stay safe, wear a mask, wear two, and take the shot. See you soon. Bye.